Hey, what's up, guys? What's up? Click here. What's up, Dana Dane? Sticky Fingers. Gratefully dedicated. What's up, bro? So I'll say it real fast, and I'll just have to keep repeating it. If you're holding Safemoon, if you're not, then it's not a big deal. But if you hold Safemoon, it could be a big deal. So I still have to get the stream set up, but I'm just gonna read this right now so that you guys can hear this. If you hold Safemoon, let me go ahead and just put it on the screen so that you can see it as well. Okay, so this comes from Kark. I don't know if you guys know Kark or not, but he actually worked for Safemoon. He did some work for them, and he was one of the people in the Discord, but he's not anymore. And he's been kind of calling them out. He also went to court and saw John Crony in court. For anybody who's questioning whether or not it's because they haven't seen any photos of him in court or not, he literally saw him in court. He just put this out about 40 minutes ago, almost an hour ago. He said, "I just had a very credible source warning that Safemoon trading may end in hours, if not sooner, that they are horrified about what looks to be imminently happening to the holders, with a very pointed message that they wanted me to relay: get out now. This looks like the real deal to me. I can promise you that this source is someone who would be able to speak authoritatively regarding this, so while I can't speak for them or guarantee the accuracy of their warning, I am very concerned. Do this with alleged leak from the source as you see fit. I'm sorry to be the bearer of potentially very bad news." I don't, you know what I mean? If you hold a lot of Safemoon, if you have a lot of money in, somebody just spent like 200 to 400 grand. I don't know what the best option is here to do, but I saw that and I was like, well, I should probably put this out there for people so that they know that there's a possibility that they might halt trading for Safemoon. And if you hold any, that you might hold a couple $100, you might hold thousands, that there's a possibility that you might not be able to do anything with it, right? People are already stuck in the bridges. Safemoon may be officially dead now. Hey, what's up, Josh? It's weird seeing you on YouTube. I'm so used to seeing you on Twitter. Lifetime movie. Yo, hope all is well. What's up, Marianne? How's it going? What's up, Jason Sams? Hi, I'm used to being crapped on with Safemoon. Nothing seems to amaze me anymore. Yeah, it's kind of like, when you're a woman who gets beat by your husband. You just get used to it eventually. I'm just playing as a joke. Don't take that seriously. That's what it feels like being a Safemoon holder, is just getting beat by your husband every day. What's up, Roblox with Vegas? How's it going, man? Rotten Prison Johnny trading has ended just a few minutes ago. If you still have tokens, they are now worthless. Did it really already happen? Did it already happen? Oh, it's too late. I try to put out a warning. If it already happened, then there's nothing I can... I tried, guys. I'm sorry. I tried to put out a warning for you guys. As soon as I saw it, I got on here. $750 lesson learned. I'm thankful that was money that didn't earn or depend on. I'm just going to leave it there and count my losses. You guys do me a favor, hit a like on this, and just so it'll reach more Safemoon holders. I mean, I guess it's too late if there's nothing they can do, if they can't sell. I was trying to put this out there before it happened, but if it already happened, then if there's going to be a space started, Josh, where they can talk about that, or should I start a space? Let's see. Jimmy Firecracker, to come down there. Oh no. I don't even know what the potential implications of that are. Oh, I tried, guys. I'm sorry. I tried to put it out there. I bet most of you guys don't hold anyways. Oh, man. That is very sad to see. I mean, I can start a space if you guys want, or you can start one. It don't matter to me. Dang, I wanted to put that out there and give people a little bit of time before it happened. As soon as I start my stream, it's done. That's crazy. Yeah, if people haven't gotten out, it is on them, but there is people who might have had a couple $100 that they could have at least pulled out if they had known. Um, I'll start it and I'll have to switch the audio over to Twitter so it'll be a little bit more quiet. I'll turn it up all the way as much as I can for the YouTube side of things. If you want to join Josh and co-host, that would be sweet. Damn, that is tragic. I'll show you guys what he tagged me in so you guys can see it. It's this image right here that says the tokenless Safemoon has been updated to version 0.49. The token is not supported. Oh, that was 13 minutes ago. I wonder if that's it, or if you can still mess with it on something else. Okay, I gotta do something. I gotta do a couple things real fast. Yeah, if you're just tuning in, guys, if you guys hit that like button for me just to get more Safemoon holders in here. I was trying to give them a warning to be able to sell before, and maybe you still can. If you hold Safemoon, I don't know. Go see if you can, see if it works for you. If not, then okay, he started a space. What's going on, guys? On the Twitter side of things, I'm live on YouTube right now. I saw Kark's post, and I sent him a message. I said, hey, can you tell me any more information that I could try to like give people so that they could potentially tell whether it's credible or not, whether or not they could sell, and it's not tradable. The Safemoon wallet from the cash out a month ago. Well, I'm wondering if can you trade it not in the Safemoon wallet, or is it still? Hold on, let me join. Okay, it's either. Okay, me and Josh both started a space at the same time. I'll just end my space and join his, and then we'll do it on his space. So I'll end this one and just go join Josh's space, and we'll be able to look at all the information there. But the entire point of why I wanted to do this is gone. I was trying to give people a heads up, be like, hey guys, if you hold Safemoon, you might want to sell, and they already missed it. So I think they already missed it. Let me not jump to conclusions. Let me start this other space and put it on the YouTube side of things so we can all hear.
All right, can you hear me? Crypto control. All right, good. Wasn't sure if my mic was working. Yeah, I thought we could start a space. I haven't done a Safemoon space in a long time. It sounds appropriate. I don't know if I should put the 365 in here. I don't know if I'm cool enough for that or not. I think it's just going to be a neutral. Safemoon is done. Yeah, I thought we could start a space. I haven't done a Safemoon space in a long time. It sounds appropriate. I don't know if I should put the 365 in here. I don't know if I'm cool enough for that or not. I think it's just going to be a neutral. Safemoon is Dunzo space. I don't want people to think it's 365. That means they can't come in here. This place is for maxis, futters, whatever you want, because at this point we're all the same. No one holds Safemoon at this point, so I guess it doesn't really matter what you want to believe. Look, this thing has come a long way, and look, and I wanted to be the last one to say it. Trust me.
I was a big believer in Safemoon. I didn't. One thing I did do right is I didn't invest more than I could afford to lose. Right, I could have afforded to lose every bit of Safemoon that I had or money I had put into it, but I didn't want to, for sure. And when I
Can we
saw the value go down less than half of what I put into it, I decided to pull it out, and I'm glad I did.
can we confirm that you can't that trading is halted? Is that like just SafeMoon Wallet, or can you still do it on Trust Wallet?
Let's take a
Or
look. Um, well, I'm out. I sold everything, so I wouldn't even be able
because
to
if
test it.
people have an opportunity who hold it to sell, then that would be great. That's what I wanted to. That's why I did all this, is to get it out there. Maybe some people who are holding or trying to make whatever, have a couple $100, have an opportunity to get out before it was halted.
All right, I changed the title. It may be halted already, but we'll still warn people in case you're able to get out some kind of way. I think this really and truly is the last warning that anyone else is going to be able to get. And there's a few people I've seen just like say the craziest things trying to keep this thing going or whatever, but there's none like this guy. What's his name? Taiwan or whatever, who seriously thinks that I mean, I guess he threw $100 in there or something, so it's not like he's aping in, but this guy really like and truly believes that he's going to be a billionaire. Don't listen to all this. It's crazy. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Safe Moon After Dark. I think I might change the name. If you want to come up and FUD with us, you're more than welcome. But I'm gonna tell you now, folks. I'm not one usually to get. I just kind of say my truth. I'm not a big FUDster or anything, but I'm gonna tell you now. If I've ever seen a last warning, this is it.
If we could, because like in my opinion, like the most important thing, kind of what I was hitting at a second ago, is to just, there might be people, because like the thing is that just because there's a lot of crazy maxis, there's probably a bunch of decent people who still hold safe and they're just hoping for the best. They weren't talking trash to anybody, and so I feel like the best thing to do would be to try to reach out, like retweet the space, retweet the images, retweet Clark's thing, to give people an opportunity. They might be able to sell. They might have thousands locked up that they might be able to pull out. I feel like that should be like an urgent priority until we're like 100% sure that that trading has been halted. Um, that's just kind of, that's the entire point of why I started the YouTube live, and I started a space, but then I saw your space, so I ended mine and came into yours.
It's all right. I can make you a co-host here too, because I don't have a whole lot to say. Look, I'm gonna be real. Like I said, I sold my Safe Moon right after the rug pull. I saw the writing on the wall there. I mean, it's one thing if you want to believe it, and up to this point, but look, John's in jail. The company's bankrupt. It sounds like they're going to seize whatever liquidity is left. They could halt trading any minute. I would get out. You can always buy back in, but I promise you this thing is not going to the moon. You can take that to the bank if you want. If there's any traction on this whatsoever, I'm sure you'll see it coming. But I promise, as far as anything like exchange, wallet features, blockchain, any of that stuff that was promised and you thought was coming, that was going to take you to the moon, that is all gone. They filed for bankruptcy. They don't own anything, no IPs, no patents, no liquidity. And likely any money they can seize from this is going to be counted as stolen. Um, Now's the time to get out if you
Okay,
haven't already.
Clark did a post 8 minutes ago. He said, "Update: my source was correct. Trading for SafeMoon appears to have been halted." So it might have just been too late. Yeah, dude. I tried so hard to put that out there because I like you might be able to help a couple people, but if it's done, and the damage is done. I mean, I guess I don't even understand like the implications of why they would halt, like why it's being halted. Can it be unhalted? Like, is it being seized? Is it due to the court stuff, or is it due to like the bankruptcy?
I
Do you
would.
have any idea? Or?
So this is just my opinion, but based on what's going on right now, if you file for bankruptcy, then anything that you have at that point is no longer yours. It would be fees to try to pay back anybody that you owe money to. And so likely if there is any liquidity left in this and the token was owned, if they could, prove that on, technically by the LLC, yeah, then maybe they can halt trading and seize the liquidity. I don't know how that works. I've never seen this happen before like this, but in my mind, if it were a bank account, they would do the same thing. So, you know what I mean? Likely it's akin to that situation. Maybe it took them a little bit to get this far, but um, obviously they're going to cooperate, whoever's left, you know, being in the crosshairs with this. It's not like they're going to try to make off with anything. They're saying, anybody that's still involved with this company, and I don't know who that would be, paid employees or whatnot, but I'm sure they're cooperating in order to not go to jail, being involved in this. So I don't know. It's a grim day for many, I'm sure.
That's crazy because like somebody just bought what was it, $200,000 worth of Safemoon.
That's just exit liquidity for people who've held on this long and were looking for a way out. I don't know. I mean, there's,
That was like a couple
there's,
weeks ago. He just poured 200K into it, and now he can't sell it.
uh,
Right?
and it's crazy because there were people during like the Luna crash and all types of other like stable coins getting depegged and shit like that. People, taking crazy gambles on stuff. Going, it's money I can piss away, but if this turns out to be good, if I could 10x this, then that's a lot of money. But I just don't see like Safemoon. This isn't just like they had a glitch or a hack or somebody sold or something. Like this is there's no coming back from this. Like how would you come back from this? Like really, let's make up the wildest story you can make up in your mind. Like John somehow gets out of jail. They have absolved him of all crimes. He's innocent. Somehow he gets to keep all of the money that he stole, and then he what? Actually does half of this stuff they said they were going to do. He makes a whole brand new team, with the Safemoon name, and they migrate to V3 or something, and somehow this goes to the moon. I mean, I'm just trying to be real here. Like, what story what kind of mental gymnastics can you tell yourself to continue to hold this, or to buy more, or whatever? I don't know. It's crazy.
Well, I have like a little bit of a different approach on it that, you know, people have probably been trading off of Safemoon maxis for a while, profiting off of them, buying the dips. They've probably just been, uh, you know, buying and selling on them at the right times. And that there might be an opportunity. I don't know. I wouldn't bet money. I wouldn't buy. I mean, a lot of people do feel like, oh, the price is so low. You could get so many tokens right now. That's what I bet a lot of people have been doing. Like that one guy you were talking about, whatever his name was. So I don't know. There might like you can make money in crypto off of scams and off of bad projects if you get in and out at the right times. So like I'm never trying to persuade somebody not to buy SafeMoon. I think it's just extremely risky, and based on the pattern for the past 2 years, the price has only gone down. And ever since like I don't even know. It seemed like ever since Thomas and Jack and Hank quit, that we've just taken L after L after L, and it's just gotten worse. And for 2 years, just taking L's for 2 years, the price going down and taking L's all the way to the point of I think John being convicted. But that's just crazy what's going on right now. It would be nice if we could get some people up here to elaborate on why it's being halted. Could it, especially Cart, to be like, why is it being halted? Could it be unhalted at some point? Or is just like SafeMoon just done right now? Like what just happened?
I don't know. I might be able to get Kark in here. Let's see. I'll send this to him. Yeah, there we go. I sent an invite to old Crypto Cark. Trading is halted. Yeah, it's confirmed now. I got a message saying that I need to trade this. So get out now is no longer applicable.
Yeah, can't sell your EGC on Safemoon wallet. It doesn't work on PancakeSwap. Yeah, I think it's done. Guys, I am sorry. I saw Clark do it, and I immediately uh, went set up the stream, everything, and as soon as I went live, it got halted. So I was like, damn, I was trying to put that out there for people because I like doing that, like warning people as early as possible. But that was like a 20-minute heads up for me because I read it, got set up, and then it was done. Maybe I don't know. Maybe whoever was going to halt it saw that it was public, that it had been announced, and so they did it faster or something. I don't know because they knew that there might be a giant exit of liquidity if people heard that, the people that would have
That's true.
believed that.
That's true.
But it happened so fast that there wasn't even a moment because I bet a lot of people would have been like, "I don't believe you. I don't believe that's going to happen. I'm going to buy more." Like people would have been buying more, you know.
It's crazy. And that's what sucks is that anybody who bought, like, especially in the last, after they heard the bankruptcy, like, and that's your own fault to do that. I mean, you're a DJ and taking a gamble at that point. Um, and with this one, there was overwhelming evidence that this wasn't going anywhere, and this is done. And maybe if you never had heard about Safemoon before and you hadn't been around, then maybe you just see a price and you're like, oh, let's snag this up. It'll come back up. Everything does, but they don't understand. Like, this thing is donezo, and it's crazy because if you look back, exactly like what you said, like, there is money to be made. You just got to know when to get in and out. And there were some people that for them it was 1 month after the launch at all-time high, and they were like, hey, look at all this money I made, and they got out. For some people it was, you know, all throughout V1 and some of V2, we saw many pumps. I had plenty of time and opportunity to get some of my money back, or actually multiply it at times because I DCA'd from the top, and every time there was a pump, I didn't take profits was my problem. I probably could have made a lot of money had I been doing that, but I let the tax scare me, for one, because there was plenty of time where I could have sold and even with the tax made a lot of money. But the problem was, by the time I saw all the red flags and it made sense to me, this thing is a scam, there were no more pumps to be had. I think I was with the general populace of people who kind of saw most of it at the same time. And then by the time I got to stand back and really look at, like, the people still shilling this thing, I'm like, man, it's really bad. You either have to be willfully ignorant or you are in on it. So, I don't know. Uh,
There's so many categories of people within it because like I think a lot of people like the fudders versus the maxis, and then there was just people just caught in the crossfire, people who just were buying and holding and hoping for the best because they didn't put that much in. Like this guy on the YouTube side of things, USMC Rhett said I left $100 to see what would happen down to 42 now. Um, so I don't know. That's why it's like my major problem, and I never meant to direct like me personally towards anybody who is just a Safemoon holder. I was never saying you're an idiot or you're evil for holding Safemoon. I don't even care if you still hold it. Like I don't care what you do. It was just a lot of the people who took it to a cult level and canceling and lying and just having disgusting behavior. And I think that a lot of the fudders were trying to address those people and a lot of people who are just holding and hoping for the best, which there's nothing wrong with that. You're not evil or stupid for doing that. It's your investment to do what you want with. Then you get caught in the crossfire, and so it kind of became the holders versus the people who sold. And it's not the same thing. It was just really the people who, and the people. There's people like that on both sides. Is Kark here? Yeah, let's get Kark up here.
yeah, he's here. I invited him to
Kark.
speak. I'm not sure if he's coming up or not, but maybe, I mean, since he's the one with the first-hand knowledge, I'm sure.
Yeah, it would be great to hear Kark to explain this. I thought maybe we would have an hour or two and then it would happen. I'd be able to live stream, get the word out. People would be debating whether or not it was actually going to happen or not. Some people would sell, some people would say, I don't believe it, I'm going to hold. Then it would go down and then people would be like, oh, thank God I sold. Thanks for giving me the heads up. But that is not the case. Sorry, guys. If anybody even still holds it, I don't know if anybody in here still holds their Safemoon or not. I sold mine like, I don't even know, like 6 months ago or something, or
It's probably close to when I saw it. Whenever it was that it was right after the hack or whatever you want to call it. I still think it. I don't think it was a hack, being that the exploit was added right before it happened. It seems malicious, but I know that's not on topic right now. Kark is a speaker. What's going on, Kark? How did you get this info, man?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
yeah,
we
you're
can
a
hear
little
you.
quiet, but you're good.
Yeah, sorry. I'm recovering from the flu, so it's a little difficult for me to speak. I've lost my voice, but I had an anonymous source reach out to me earlier over the past couple days, and I had a separate non-anonymous source, someone who, when they reached out to me and told me what was going to happen, and how concerned they were, how horrified they were, that they wanted some help getting the word out, because of what was going to happen to the holders. That I did my best to translate what they were telling me and put it out there and let people know that this is an authoritative, non-anonymous source that gave me this information, and they're really putting a lot out there on a limb, because they could easily be identified with what they were telling me. So I had to really parse and distill what they were saying, and hope that get that information out there for holders. And about 30 minutes after I published that, trading stopped. So it was accurate.
So the next sort of speculation that we had was, okay, so why are they doing this? Is this because of the bankruptcy and they're trying to retrieve the liquidity as a asset of this company? Is that so? Is it a DeFi project or not? I guess is what I'm asking.
Yeah, what I'm saying is that the source related to me, their opinion that it was either John or John via his lawyers, one of the two, that hired this chief restructuring officer. And so this is a John playbook. This is John, apparently being responsible, according to my source, in their opinion, that John's the one who hired this person. And I don't know if explicitly this person was directed into bankruptcy or not. We don't know of those conversations. But this person seems pretty hell-bent and has listed with the trustees more than 10 million in assets, which is almost exactly what was in the liquidity pools at the time, between the different liquidity pools. So yeah, it seems to me like this is John essentially shutting everything down and using the liquidity to hand wave away all the debts. I opined. I thought that maybe that this actually was a playbook type maneuver from John so that he could get out on bail, because one of the concerns that the judge keeps bringing up is his ability to have control over these assets, and Safemoon being a vehicle for these illicit ill-gotten gains. Um, and so if Safemoon shut down, and there's no longer any assets to be handled via John, then that makes his case to get out on bail a lot cleaner. Now you don't have to worry about Safemoon assets being wrapped up in the discussion of his bail release conditions. And so that's my personal opinion. I think this was a maneuver by John in order to get out on bail. Personally, I don't think he gives a fuck, pardon my French, about the holders, because otherwise he would have not have brought in a chief restructuring officer, which is typically brought in during a bankruptcy type maneuver. and he would not be using the liquidity which belongs to the holders as a way to settle these debts. Um, it's it's absolutely mind-boggling. It's insane to me that someone would allow for this to happen. I don't understand it.
Can I ask you something real quick, Hark? So would it be accurate to say that we don't know, based on your sources, 100% why the trading was halted?
Oh,
That's mostly speculative, or
no, the trading was halted specifically due to bankruptcy proceedings and at the direction of the chief restructuring officer.
and does that mean that it is like on a scale? I don't even know how to say this, but does it mean that people will never be able to sell their Safemoon again, or
Yeah, it's over.
Can you guys hear me?
no?
Can you guys
What's up, TNG?
can
Hey,
you
what's
guys
up,
hear me? Yeah,
TNG?
I'm on PC. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think part of the issue here is obviously Safemoon has multiple LPs on the swap on like Ethereum pairs with USDC and stuff. That's all fine. Like those aren't going to be halted because ultimately, if you trade one for the other,
No, it's not. That's incorrect. So the token, everything goes through the token. All the balance modifiers are through the token. When you transfer from one to the other, it's the token smart contract that manages that ledger
you're kidding me.
balance.
So wait in the liquidity pool for like for example Polygon Matic with USD Tether, Safemoon is still involved. Like the token Safemoon is still involved.
Yes, because when you transfer, what you're really doing is you're interacting with the
Oh,
smart
fucking
contract, and
hell.
you're saying, "Hey, smart contract."
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've never
yeah,
used a swap, so I wouldn't know that, but fucking hell. That's crazy. So yeah, essentially, well, I was gonna drop in and say that basically whoever the chief restructuring officer is, what they're concerned about is people swapping a worthless token, which is SafeMoon, for something that is worth money, which is BNB or Ethereum or Matic, whatever chain you're on. However, the other trades are fine. But no, yeah, fuck it then. So I've calculated the balance of all of the LPs that SafeMoon have, and it's basically $8.2 million of assets they can take out. So that doesn't include any Safemoon tokens. That's literally just like the BNB in different LPs, the Ethereum, the wrapped Bitcoin in different LPs, and the USD. So yeah, 8.2 million.
yeah. And what my source had told me as well, and again, this is the non-anonymous source, was that, and actually the anonymous source and the non-anonymous source both said the same thing, that the chief revenue officer was concerned about the trading that was happening post the bankruptcy announcement. And they have since moved to seal the entire bankruptcy proceedings um, due to quote unquote threats. And so we're not going to probably be seeing a lot of these court actions and these court maneuverings happening. And again, it is the belief of my non anonymous source who warned about the trading halting, which came true 3 minutes later. So I believe them, that this this chief revenue officer was put in place by John or via proxy via his attorneys. We're not sure exactly who or how, but this seems to be a
Free
maneuver
gender. Thanks for
that
the
John
$5.
had made
No, I do not see Evergrow
through his
disappearing in the same way.
attorneys. And so this is the last FU from John, everyone. He entirely rugged the entire project, pulled out all the money so that he could potentially get out on bail when he argues in court that he doesn't have the keys to anything anymore. And also, since all these proceedings are going to be sealed, we don't actually know who this money is actually going to, these millions of dollars. And so, my concern as well is that there may be entities that are controlled by John that are going to be receiving proceeds from these bankruptcy filings. That's my concern.
Yeah, and it's something that I've always said I was concerned about with regards to, like certain maxis insisting that, John should be let out on bail and it's his right and stuff. I've always thought that that there's no way that John should be allowed out on bail because it's so easy for him to squirrel money away, to hide it or to root it in a way that it can't be seized again. And like if he does decide to take his jail sentence on his prison sentence on the chin, and it's like 10 years or 7 years or whatever, then he could just wait for a nest egg when he gets out, and that's that's money that can't be returned to the holders.
Yeah. Hey, Metacaptain. And again, sorry about my voice. I'm getting over the flu. So
No problem. So I just had a comment / question. I should have just checked this real quick, but I believe what TNG was actually asking about a moment ago was if the other liquidity pairs that are on the Safemoon swap, if those are halted, whether it be like just an ETH-matic pair, so just the ETH trading, whether or not that ever interacts with the token. I know that you heard the question as like every type of pair that Safemoon has, but I think specifically he was referencing like whether or not all of the trading via the swap would be affected.
That's correct. That's what I was asking.
everything stopped. At least on Binance. Do you have the transactions on Poly and ETH for pausing the contract?
Yeah.
Either way, no
We're not
transfers.
talking. We're not. Sorry, buddy. Sorry. What we're talking about, like, if Safemoon has multiple swaps of token pairs that don't involve Safemoon, the token. So on the Safemoon swap, for instance, they have $733,000 in the Polygon, so wrapped Ethereum and Matic.
You're talking about the partners. Okay.
No, it's
Yeah,
not
my
partners.
apologies.
This is Safemoon's provided liquidity, but it's just not with Safemoon token.
Yeah, the swaps aren't stopped. So anything regarding the token is stopped. Yeah, so any transferring to Safemoon is stopped. But yeah, liquidity pairings outside of Safemoon aren't going to be affected.
The reason why I didn't automatically answer is because don't they have their fee structure like baked in Safemoon? So if they pause the Safemoon contract, they either have to eliminate those fees for the time being, or all that
wait,
shit's
Meta, you raise an amazing point. That's what I thought Kaku was talking about. But actually, hang on, is this another developing honeypot? Because you'll send your token to the liquidity pool, it will expect the next order of the transaction is to do some bullshit with a Safemoon token to work out how much needs to be burned. At that point, won't the transaction fail, or will it just partially fail? Because when it came to like the V1 LP, when it came to the V1 token with the 100% tax, what happened is if you wanted to buy Safemoon token, you would send your BNB to the liquidity pool, and then it would just say, "Oh no, that's 100% tax." So you don't get any Safemoon tokens back out.
Yeah, no, with the 100% tax, that's because the execution never reverted. But yeah, if there's any interaction with the Safemoon token at all in a transaction, that transaction will fail and revert.
Oh yeah, so that's those red. It's the red error messages you see on BSC scan where it's like transaction.
Yeah, but that's a good point, Metacaptain. I wasn't even aware that they.
But for instance, they have a separate fee jar. So I'm assuming, and I can look at this and figure it out, but I'm assuming what's going to happen is they're still going to, like, because that fee can't get fired, they probably just turned off the fee jar, and they'll still allow all the other trading to take place. They almost have to, right?
Yeah. No, I don't think that they could rug someone else's liquidity in there either. So, yeah, I'll have to look at the contract when I get home. I'm driving right now, but yeah, that's interesting. We just witnessed Safemoon fully rug.
Hey,
is it possible they could just be like, let's just turn it back on?
Yeah, they could turn it back on. It's similar to what they did with when the LP was hacked in March. They just paused the contract.
Yeah, it's
How do you know that this is okay with everything that John's dealing with in court? Like, couldn't that potentially affect all that, or?
Dude, that's where I'm at. So I'm looking at this like, okay, So you just took like a bad situation and decided to fucking bury yourself
Well,
some
it could be
more.
that,
Like,
or it could be the part of a plea deal from like the DOJ. Maybe they said, look, you've got to pause the contract and you've got to use all the money in the liquidity pools to like as like confiscation to return money to holders.
What if they seize it? Like, what if that was part of the? I mean, I guess wouldn't we have seen something about a plea deal if that was the case? But it's
Yeah.
like that would make sense where it's like, hey, you hand over all the assets and money, you bankrupt your company, and then we can talk about you getting out.
Yeah, potentially.
You know.
Well, I think maybe the bankruptcy was handled by a third party to John in terms of whoever was brought on.
Yeah.
Like, but you know, I'm definitely open to the thought it could have been John arranging it. But yeah,
And it makes sense that like, hey, let's liquidate this money so it can't go anywhere. So yeah, it couldn't be used, blah blah blah. But then like, where does it go? Who gets to decide what happens to it? Is it still in John's control or someone else's control that he controls?
well, that's what Clark was.
You know, there's a lot of money
Yeah,
still in
it's
there.
what yes, like 8.2 mil. It's what Clark was worried about though, in terms of like, you know, if the lawsuit is sealed, then we'll never know.
Right. And like I said earlier, if any of the debtors, like we don't know if this gets sealed. And apparently according to my source, that's what he said was going to happen, is that all of this stuff was going to be sealed. Then we don't know where that money's going. And my concern is that it appears, according to my source, that this was the chief restructuring officer was hired by John, or at the instruction of John via his attorneys, um, by proxy. Then what this might mean is that this could be John essentially trying to take the remaining LP if he claims that he's indebted to himself with another entity,
Yeah.
or this could be a maneuver that John's doing purposefully so that when he goes before a bail hearing again, he can say that, well, Safemoon's no more. I don't have keys to the kingdom, so therefore I'm no longer a flight risk. And so that's what it looks like to me. Why else would John completely tank the company unless he benefited from it somehow? It doesn't make any sense to me otherwise.
I also hadn't thought of that perspective. Basically, John saying, well, some major thing standing in the way of standing in the way of being granted bail is now gone. Like that obstacle's gone. But however, I think the DOJ wants to see somebody hang for this. That person is John, and if they're not going to change their mind that he is a person with the ability to flee and certainly the financial means to flee and stay hidden from justice outside of the US. So I can see that they're still probably able to convince a judge that he's not suitable for bail. I'd like to see him locked up till Christmas anyway, at least through Christmas. Merry Christmas, you filthy animal.
I wonder how the Max is going to spend this one.
Yeah, that's what I was like. How could you possibly make this positive? I did.
Crypto control. I've been seeing a lot of shit on my timeline since the X updated about like, oh, you know, it just needs to happen. Chapter 7 bankruptcy. We need to go through this to rebrand, to get a new CEO.
We need to do this to sever ties with the United States. These people are like, I'm not being like guarded or reserved anymore. I'm not being polite. I'm not being civil at all.
Dude,
I'm just like, I'm so fucking tired of this, man. I'm just like, you people are fucking retards.
TNG, you must be exhausted. Clark, you too.
Clark, who's Clark?
I can't imagine what you.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Clark.
Clark, I love it. Change your name. Yeah, I am. I'm exhausted. He doesn't even have the flu. He's just exhausted from Safemoon. He's not physically unwell whatsoever. He's lying.
What? No, I just told you guys.
Yeah, it's the flu.
He's got the
wink.
Safemoon flu.
It's the flu wink. Yeah. We believe you, Clark.
I was saying you guys just exhausted as hell. Like, just like, what else can you say? Like, I don't know what else. But when the indictment happened, I don't know literally what else you could have done. Like, this just adds, you know.
It's fucking wild how like literally end of October just days before the indictment, I've been saying to people for years, but since, especially in October, I was just like, guys, how long can John really evade justice? And people were, taking a piss out of me. John gets indicted, Thomas is arrested, John's arrested, Kyle's on the run. And then it pivoted to, oh, well, don't worry, because Safemoon's still there. Safemoon's building. Look, they made a Twitter post saying we're going to keep going. And then I was saying, well, look, the primary source of revenue for Safemoon was stolen money. And the guy who's been stealing it month on month all the way through 2022 and 2023 is now in jail. So how can Safemoon continue unless they get more stolen money? And of course, there was a lot of opposition to that. And then Safemoon filed for bankruptcy. And then it's like people are saying, well, look, John's gone, Safemoon's gone, but we can still trade the token. And I'm saying, look, the LPs are there ready to pay off like debts and fines. And now, look, the LP's been frozen. Like, Jesus Christ, man, these people need to start. Like, a fact is a fact. A fact is a fact, no matter who says it to you. Hitler could tell you a fact. You fucking hate Hitler. Everyone does. But if he tells you a fact, you believe him because it's a fact. Like, it doesn't matter.
They can take our tokens, but they'll never take our freedom.
Literally, it's like your worst enemy could tell you a fact and it wouldn't stop it being a fact. So, and you have to believe in facts, otherwise you lose grip of reality. So, if there's evidence of fraud, and then there's evidence of a company that's basically primarily funded through fraud, then it's all going to go. These are just facts.
I mean, at this point, I think anybody still playing around with this after John went to jail, it's all just degen gambling at this point, for sure.
Well, one thing I want to put out there too is that Dr. Secret guy he's put in millions now, hasn't he? I think some people are.
No, those I saw screenshots of that. There's no way it's not millions. It's like,
Okay, well, it's at least 500,000.
well, I counted some of the transactions. It was a lot less. The initial batch after the first day he bought it was like 130k. I originally thought it was like 400k, but it's just because, not 400, 300. Because when you look at his bag value, it was all the people that are buying in after him. Because he was adding so much.
You know that he has like 10 billion tokens
Yeah.
now, right?
But like 10 billion tokens, he was buying. Well, I mean, he's so super underwater at the moment. Even before this, when you looked at his profile on Arkham, he'd already lost. His total portfolio value was down like over 300k.
Well, I recommend that you go in and you look at it and count it up because there's my understanding is that this was well over $500,000 that he's put in, and now he's locked out. But yeah, the anonymous source, the source who was not anonymous earlier today told me that they had no idea who this guy was. That there's only one person that had access to the funds for Safemoon. So they know it wasn't anything internal because there were some conspiracy theories flying around that, this was some benefactor within Safemoon who was trying to provide exit liquidity for people to get out, and it seems like that wasn't the case.
Wasn't that wallet stolen as well? Like after they put in the money?
A little bit, yeah. But no, I would be very curious to see TNG if you're able to see how much money they had recently put in into Safemoon
It's no
since the
problem doing it
first.
now. You just download the BNB from the BNB transactions from BSC Scan, and then you do download the token ones and just do a sum. I'm doing it now. It'll take me 3 or 4 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just driving right now. I can't do it.
I thought you Americans could use the phone while you're operating a multi-ton killing machine with impunity. And it's just us limey redcoats who say, do you know what? If you're driving a car, you should probably keep your eyes on the road while you're hurtling around at 60 miles an hour.
No, I got ice cream for my throat and I parked. We're good.
So you're on the up and up now.
Yeah, a little better. I just need to get. I just keep losing my voice. So
All right. So I think we asked this question earlier. Kark, you can chime in, or Metacaptain. Both of you guys probably have a decent perspective here. But what kind of mental gymnastics would you have to do for Safemoon to come back and deliver the exchange? And not even talking about Project Phoenix or nothing like that. Like just a blockchain or something
You'd have
like
to
that.
shoot yourself in the
What?
face, and then the gaping wound left through your skull cavity, it should be able to provide enough of the mental
I mean,
gymnastics.
realistically, like what? I mean, I'm not saying what are the odds. Like obviously, we know the odds are nil, but like what could not even reasonably, what could realistically happen? What could technically happen even?
Nothing, man. I mean, you gotta really take a step back and look at the Safe Moon situation and reiterate what made Safe Moon what it was. And it wasn't that, yeah, they'd get an exchange out or they'd get this or that. People thought that they had made a deal with a Nigerian prince and was going to be like the currency of an entire country. And they thought they were like in bed with like the CIA and crazy shit like that.
You can thank Darkmoon Tim for that shit.
So what we have here in this video, we've got these owls, and according to the LLC of this company, fuck out of here.
So like that's the type of weird level of like big that you would need to get people back into like green. It would have to be like, oh, Safemoon, the DOJ decided to take Safemoon over and they're gonna make that the new dollar currency. Like then maybe people would see returns or some shit again. But it's so out of this world crazy. Of course it's not ever gonna happen. Nothing
I'm
can.
looking for someone from their community is going to launch another coin on a different blockchain.
I heard TNG's launching OG Safemoon on Polygon.
Oh shit! Hey, TNG, it all started with one being a dream.
Yeah. No, I don't think I have it in me to rug millions of people, to be honest.
Well, let's ask about this. Do you think that like this was all just one big malicious scheme by John, or do you think that he honestly had some kind of intention somewhere in there of delivering some of this crap and then just got really greedy
When you
along the
view
way?
Safemoon as basically just like all the actions that were taken after the middle of 2021, as John just trying to think what's the bare minimum I can do to avoid jail, then it's suddenly when you look at Safemoon after having that thought, a lot of stuff starts to click into place and it makes a lot more sense than why is it that a company that has access to literally hundreds of millions of dollars just can't produce a single fucking decent thing? Because that's the alternate. It's like even if you take out $10 million, you can get some serious talent, Solidity developers, seriously talented developers to make some actually good stuff that functions. And instead you get a fucking wallet and a swap which charges like 3 times as much as other swaps, and a fucking LP that gets hacked as soon as the bridge goes live. It's just fucking pathetic. Worthless shit.
Yeah, if they would at least produce like those things, even if they're very minimal, I would agree with you. Or I would agree to that statement, Josh. That hey, we tried, but it was all incompetence. The way it seems is when you look at the whole picture, GNG is right. It was all a scam from the beginning.
What about what if there was this alternate universe where we actually got like Safemoon Connect, at least, and where this meme hype token turned into a thing that allowed influencers and content creators and all to actually benefit from crypto payments and stuff like that. And then it actually became a thing that worked and people enjoyed a product, a real product. Why? Why? Like at the very least, it could have just been that, and maybe a video game or something, Mooncraft or something like that.
Hey Clark, can you once again, and it could just be that I'm slow, but there might be new people in here as well. Elaborate on them shutting it down and like what you know why they halted trading and what's speculation, so that we know like why they did it, and so people, because people are going to be speculating on, oh, they're going to turn it back on, or maybe they'll turn it back on and then I'm going to buy a bunch more.
Yeah, sure. I had a source reach out to me about 30 minutes before trading stopped with a message of that they wanted me to relay to tell people to get out now, that they're horrified of what's happening with this bankruptcy process. That the chief restructuring officer is pretty hell bent on getting all of this stuff liquidated, including the liquidity for bankruptcy. And so and part of that would be stopping the trading, because the chief restructuring officer was worried that all that money was going to go away with people selling off, having heard about the bankruptcy. So that's why I put out the message on Twitter and in their Discord to, hey, I have a non-anonymous source who can speak very authoritatively, who is warning people to get out now and trading's going to stop. And so I hope that message got out and hit as many people as possible, but it wasn't a lot of time. And then the communication with my source ceased because there was apparently something that they had, some contractual agreement that included a communication gag order of some sort. And so I'm no longer in touch with that insider anymore due to those legal agreements. But yeah, we should be, according to my source, we should see the bankruptcy filings become sealed, and we probably won't be able to find out what happens from a legal standpoint going forward.
Clark, the final number for Dr. Secret is just under 550k.
Okay.
I just can't believe that they can be like, oh, hey, we're going to take everyone's money and use it to pay for these fees. We're going to just halt trading and we're going to take all the LP and use it.
So I'm with you on that, where that's hard to believe, so much so that I'm like, if that's the case and that's what they're deciding to do, surely that's going to clash with other court proceedings that are ongoing.
Well, there is the Celsius ruling in January of this year that went over, and a bankruptcy judge declared that that holders' deposits into Celsius would be used in the bankruptcy proceedings, where the holders would be at the bottom of the list. So there already is a similar type of precedence, not with decentralized liquidity pools, mind you, but assuming if you were putting money into a centralized exchange of some sort, there is a precedent where the holders can get completely screwed with their deposits during the bankruptcy proceeding.
Who farted?
It sounds like it was whoever shitting all over the holders.
Sorry, it's becoming increasingly more difficult for me to talk. I'm sorry if my voice is completely screwed up.
No, we thank you for being here with us and giving us the info as usual, and good info. That's the other thing. You've got a pretty good track record when it comes to. I mean, you kind of called it. I remember there were a few times where I didn't know who Crypto Kark was, or who the heck is Kark, and I keep seeing all this stuff that you were seeing or you were saying to John and the Discord and all, and I remember pretty distinctly this time where you told him something about probably right before the bridge hack or something, and you had told him like, "Hey, this is going to be bad." I think it had to do with arbitrage or something like that. And he told you something snotty like, "Thanks for your opinion" or something like that, or some crap. When it was a matter of fact, and exactly what you said happened after that.
Yeah, that was a situation where they didn't have bridging turned on yet. They seeded a liquidity pool on Polygon um, with the price way higher than what it was on Binance. So as you can seed the liquidity any price you want. So they seeded the liquidity price super high on Polygon, and they didn't have bridging turned on. And then they allowed for trading of the token. And then a bunch of people were going in and buying tokens off of Polygon chain. And then he started posting charts of the price of Safemoon exploding on Polygon and bragging about it, basically. And I'm like, bro, you do realize
Before
that,
bridging.
yeah, yeah, the price obviously can't go down below what you seeded the price at, because the only way people can procure tokens on Polygon is via the liquidity pool. You can only buy from the liquidity pool to get tokens. And then if everyone sold, it would only go back down to the price it was seeded at. So I'm like, yeah,
Right.
your chart is going to look like exponential and it is going to go crazy. But as soon as you turn on bridging, what you're going to have is it's not going to drag the price on BSC up. You're just going to have someone who's going to arbitrage that, buy on BSC, bridge over, sell on Polygon, and screw all of those people on Polygon and take a bunch of money from your liquidity pool. I'm like, this is really stupid. And yeah, he was.
Just like I had my suspicions that they were behind that bridge hack, that he might have done that on purpose, knowing they were going to arbitrage this and be the ones to take the money.
That was my concern as well, is who's the people that are actually going to arbitrage off of Binance and move it over to Polygon and sell on that massively inflated liquidity pool. And we wouldn't know who that was. I still don't know who the arbitrageurs were that did that, because I didn't track them down into any wallets that I'm aware of. But they made off with a lot of money. And when I called it out on the Discord, I was told that I need to trust the team, that I think I'm better than everybody else who are actually doing these things, and that I need to sit down and stuff like that. And I'm like, guys, like, I'm really just trying to objectively warn you that this is a really bad idea. And in retrospect now, it went just as I said. But like, holy crap, like, do I really have to write this massive essay to the team to beg John to not be completely retarded? And then when I get an acknowledgement
it
from
would be reasonable for them to have had consultants, right, paid for what you told them, not to tell you thanks for your opinion. Rather, they should have been seeking these alternative opinions to make sure that the holders had the best interest for them in mind, right? So I think that shows that at the very least, like I said several times before I sold, a lot of these actions John takes, they show one of two things: either gross negligence or gross malice. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, there's no in between.
And you know why I didn't work with Safemoon? When I had that interview in it was late December of 2021, and I think like early January of 2022 is when I had those two meetings with John in person. And I was verbally extended the role of chief technology officer. Sorry, not chief technology, director of technology. Jeez, I don't know why I said that. And I'm like, I considered it, I thought about it, but when I went back the second time and talked with John, I got so much of a runaround of like what actually could be done. And there were so many irreconcilable differences that I had. Like, he kept asserting that the LP didn't belong to the holders, which I vehemently disagreed with. He kept asserting that the 100% tax was the best way forward, which I vehemently disagreed with. I explained to him how we could have fixed the migration process, and that was completely hand waved away. And that's the thing is when I sat down with John and really tried to like work through or provide solutions with John, he would always come up with, "Oh, we already discussed this, and the lawyer said that we can't do this," or "Already discussed this, and the accountants say that we can't do this." "Oh, we already discussed this, and like it's going to be a problem because of like tax implications and crap like that." Like he had an answer for everything that was dismissive. And I realized quite quickly that I could not actually operate in an environment like that where all of this potential solutions were hand waved away by a narcissist. And that's the feeling that I got. I was like, I think SafeMoon's in big trouble. I don't think even if I came in and worked with SafeMoon that I would have a positive impact because everything that I would promote, everything that I would say, I would be undermined or I'd be told no, and I would not be able to work in an environment like that where I wouldn't have the leeway or the ability to actually enact positive change.
I think what you're saying mirrors a lot of the same conversations that I've had with people, either publicly or not publicly, who've left SafeMoon at some point or another. And almost every one of the people I talked to prior to this conversation we're having now said these things, um, knowing that that what they were saying was independent of what anybody else would say later or had said before. It was their personal experience.
If you guys don't mind, I just feel like the weight of what just happened hasn't been uh, clearly, in my opinion, expressed that this is the end of SafeMoon. It like that literally couldn't be the end, and that's just speculation. And I'd like to hear from Kark to correct me if I'm wrong. That even if for some reason they turned it back on, there would likely be a massive sell off, right?
I mean, I can't speculate as to what would happen if it was turned back on. But all the indications from the source that I was given internally is that there is no plans to turn this back on. That in fact, the goal of this, it might be turned on briefly or something, perhaps to extract LP or something. But I do not believe personally, and I don't believe the source that I talked to either um, believes that this is supposed to be a temporary pause. That this was intentionally done to stop the sell off because the chief restructuring officer wants to maintain as much liquidity as possible for the bankruptcy.
That
Let
makes
that sink
sense. I
in.
mean, yeah.
I think that's a good point towards obviously how they viewed the liquidity all along. At least John or his team that's doing this restructuring, whatever, it was clearly always viewed as their asset. That's how, in their eyes.
With you saying that, and I'll give you something scientific to look at. Look at the white paper. Look at how originally how they divided up the tax. And if you look at it, there was never anything coded in there. I guess I made this up in my mind, or at least that's the way I understood it, that part of the tax was going to some sort of operational fund for SafeMoon. But then if you look at how the original tax was broken up, no, it wasn't at all. It was half LP, half reflections. And it's like, okay, wait a second. So what part of this goes back to SafeMoon for them to operate with? Is it because they hold a huge wallet that then collects reflections? Do they use the reflections for operating costs or whatever? No, it never was anything like that. John viewed the entire liquidity pool as their operating fund or whatever you want to call it. And then through that, there was even gross misuse of funds buying what they called company cars, which ended up being Hummers and sports cars and stuff like that, Rolexes, you name it, all these parties and stuff. None of the development that we were told was happening was actually happening. The only products that we got were the wallet, which was botched at launch. We got a bunch of good updates under Fudhound until he left, and then they kind of limped along after that. They implemented this orbital shield, which John bought like a white labeled piece of software and rebranded it to work with SafeMoon. This key phrase encryptor and logger. Okay, so we didn't ask for that. That's what we got. But then turns out John had bought some part of that company that was from Lynn Sprague's is the whole reason why he's forcing this down our throats, because it's something he wanted to buy and have stock in. So then here we
Well,
are.
and
Go ahead.
sorry to interrupt. I do think that there were obviously I think that there was work being done on the exchange. I do think that there was work being done on the blockchain. I do think that there was work being done. However, I mean, you can argue about how much that was compared to, what was being allocated elsewhere.
Right.
Because I do know, like when I went into the office and saw people there, it wasn't a ton of people, but um, I know that they hired a bunch of contractors and stuff like that as well. But you may have seen as much as anywhere of like 20 devs between different projects. Now, I don't believe these things were obviously they hadn't been released up to this point, and there's probably a variety of reasons for that. But I do think what TNG said earlier, that if you frame this in the mindset that what is the bare minimum that I can do to keep things going without ending up in jail. If you
Right.
look at it from that lens and that mindset, it makes a lot more sense because resources were allocated. I mean, why would have I been
Oh, for sure.
interviewed?
No,
Yeah,
no,
why would I have
I
been interviewed
totally
for a
let
director
me
of technology position if they weren't planning on doing something with it?
well no, I totally agreed. I don't say this often. I don't, especially not publicly, but I'll tell you. I actually did interview for a job as well with Safemoon. I didn't go there and meet John like you did, but I also like just out of my own curiosity, I wanted to see like how far could I get with this because I want to see how this internal system works, you know. I don't have an MBA or anything like that, but I do have 20 years experience in IT and as a executive in IT in the last 5 years or so. And so I said, yeah, I'd like to see the internal workings of this company. At least the very least, I wanted to get interviewed by him to see how that went. So I had a round with Carly, and then another round with Carly and another guy that was already kind of working in their IT department. Did you meet any of their IT guys actually? I never had this conversation with you, so I'm curious.
I spend most of my time talking with John and Charles.
Okay. Um, and I didn't get to meet anybody outside of that as far as IT went, but I was just interested in like, all right, so what do you guys have as far as IT? What type of infrastructure do you have? Do you have a data center? Or are you using AWS? What do you have here? And this is before Orbital Shield and all that, right?
When
Just what do
did
you have?
you when did you interview with them?
Uh, that's a good question. If you give me a second, I can reach in my email here and I can tell you exactly when it was.
Yeah, because I got
Um,
interviewed in late December 2021, early January
oh, that's going to be way
2022.
earlier than me. This was after
Yeah,
they actually
yeah.
had
What
on
I
their website like they were giving, they were giving out job descriptions, remember? And I was like, okay, well, how legit is this? Could I actually interview for one of these things and get it? And so I tried it. Um,
That was
so let's see.
after Charles really came in and
Hmm.
helped organize a bunch of stuff. And so what you probably saw was, I mean, this is after Ryan came in, and things
Yes,
started
Ryan was
started
still
to get
there.
a
He
little
had
bit more structured.
In fact, if you want to know the truth, this was because I talked to Ryan. That's what I was about to go with this. So I had a round of interviews with, um, it was Carly and another guy, and then I talked with Kate, which went well. She seemingly was a really nice person when I met her, and then I talked to Ryan after that. Okay, and Ryan told me some stuff. Um, and nothing like I don't think any NDA type stuff, but like he was like telling me about some things, the way that their company worked and some things they were working on. And I was like, wow, okay, so this thing is real, right? Okay, and then like a week later, maybe not even that long, he got fired, and so I was like, okay, so what's going on here? Um, so I don't, not saying that any of that was related. I'm just saying I never got to really speak with him on that level again. But it was one in which I felt like things were going really well, and I might actually get a job with these guys. I was thinking about uprooting my family and moving to Utah. I was, and I'm like thinking there is a God, obviously, because I'm still here and I didn't do that. But
No, I feel similarly. Like I saw the writing on the wall. I mean, that's why I declined the offer after meeting John, because the first round, like it was a big gish galop of all the cool things that Safemoon are doing. Like, oh wow, you're going to launch satellites. That's cool. Oh cool, the LP's insured through Lloyd's of London. That's cool. You know, you can't get robbed according to what you're telling me. Okay, that's cool. I mean, just like a lot of like he spent probably half the interview bragging to me about all the cool things Safemoon are doing. And I don't know, it just it didn't set well with me. And like again, teach their own. Everyone has different opinions on people when they first meet them. But I'll be honest with you, I had a really bad feeling, and I trust my gut. That's intuition. That's your subconscious, you know, working away, telling you things. You know, it's not just like a weird feeling you get in your stomach. It's like your brain's telling you something. It's screaming something at you because it's processing in the background. So I had a really bad feeling
yeah,
that something quite wasn't quite right, and that kind of kept me away. And then after that, especially after Chris Harris went after me, and after more information started coming to light about LP misallocation and that kind of thing, that's when I started to get more and more concerned. But going up and trying to voice concerns to the Safemoon Army is a very delicate process, because as soon as you say anything that is not, you know, the rallying cry of Safemoon, then you are a futter and you're a horrible human being. And so it was hard for me to kind of to try to inform and warn as many people as possible about the realities of what was happening without being just completely discounted as, you know, just this horrible offer fodder that just, you know, has nothing good to say. Like you have to really like try to get information through in a way that doesn't shut people down. And that was my approach, and I wish I could have done more in retrospect, to be honest.
I'll be honest with you, man. And I don't get to say this often about a lot of people. I think Metacaptain's one of those people. You are crypto controllers. A few people I've met that, for the most part, it's like, you know, we all have opportunities in our own ways to be a part of something and make a ton of money for ourselves, right? But we're not. And what we find fascinating is to be around what some people would call communities, just because, I don't know, it's like curiosity, or maybe we enjoy the people. But at the end of the day, I think it was Rooney in 365 that said something that along the lines of, like, you know, community in crypto is bullcrap, because, you know, it's all just a bunch of people trying to make money. I would believe that spitefully, but I can't, because I've met people like you and Metacaptain and Crypto Control, and people like, I wouldn't say
Well,
that we're all part of the same community even. It's just that I've met people and it's not like that. You can really meet some good people.
If
Um,
what Hart's said, if everything that like happened today happened because of what his source has said is true, this is one of like the lowest piece of shit moves I've ever seen in this space. To reiterate,
100%.
it's a situation where some dude got caught fucking frauding everybody, stealing millions of dollars, is going to jail no matter what, and then orders his bankruptcy team to take the last bit, the crumbs that are left of the holder's money. That's just literally just the fucking worst thing I've ever heard in my life.
Hey guys, look, I want to take this time because we've been up here for a minute. I got $5 shake up here, and I used one of his videos earlier on my tweets, and he took it like a champ. Like, he laughed on my post and everything. So I wanted to give a shout out to him and give him a chance to speak. Hey, what's up, $5
Hey,
shake?
what's up, man? Yeah, I mean, look, I'm from New York. I can take a joke. We break balls all the time. It's no problem at all. So what I just wanted to say is not to defend anything that's going on. I'm actually not surprised that trading was halted, but I know that was it Kark, a couple of you guys actually, when I just the limited time I was listening, talking about how the guy who's responsible right now. First of all, he's not court appointed restructuring guy. That has yet to be determined, because once the filing goes in, and once the court basically, it's in the court's hands, right? So I don't believe, just based on what I know about Chapter 7, when you file for Chapter 7, you're basically admitting that the entire LLC is going to be liquidated. So you no longer have any control over any of the finances, anything that's going on. So I don't believe that they halted trading to somehow remove the LP and then satisfy your debts, because it's out of their hands right now. That's all up to the courts. What I think happened was that they just halted trading so that there's like something there, and then the court can decide what to do with it, kind of like in good faith. So I don't see anything nefarious about this. I think it's just kind of like, it's almost like for example, if you have run a business, you file for Chapter 7, and then your bank account, you're not touching it anymore. It's like, all right, you know what? Everything is up to the courts right now. So I just wanted to throw that out there. So I don't think this is any like ulterior motive about trying to abscond with the remaining LP.
If I could counter that real quick. I had two sources. One was anonymous and one is not anonymous. The anonymous source was relating that the chief restructuring officer was concerned that that there was a big sell-off now that the bankruptcy news hit, and that the LP would be undermined, and that the plans were to use the LP for bankruptcy. And then when I talked to the non-anonymous source today, that was correct about the Safemoon trading stopping, being paused. They also said that the chief restructuring officer was looking at the LP and wanted to stop trading because that they were going to use the LP in the bankruptcy filings. And so, and also as well, yes, this wasn't court appointed. Otherwise, we would have seen something. The non-anonymous source, who really stuck their neck out, by the way, they told me that excuse me, I'm just getting over this flu. Was that the chief restructuring officer was someone who was brought in by John at the direction of John via his attorneys, most likely. There was still a little bit of uncertainty about exactly how that process worked. But this seems to be maneuvering by John for this process to happen. And so I just wanted to bring at least what was brought to me by those two sources, one of which I think has definitely proved its merit because 30 minutes after I posted that, trading stopped. So I think there may be some credibility to what they're saying.
Oh no, I agree. I think that they're because if you look at the court filing for the Chapter 7, they listed the assets, and what was it, like over between 10-50 million. Now, whether or not those assets include like their perceived value, again, it's not my opinion, but perceived value of their current existing IP, the value of whatever wallets remain outside of the LP, they may just decide to halt trading, just as you said it correctly, so that there's no run, right, or bank run, however you figure it, so the price goes to zero. So they say like, all right, well, for the court, for this Chapter 7, let them decide what to do with the LP. Now, by the way, I mean, I'm not even mentioning the DOJ. Obviously, is a much higher court there in the Eastern District of New York. I mean, I imagine tomorrow we're going to see some kind of filing by the prosecutors to halt whatever the Utah Bankruptcy Court is deciding right now, because they don't want anything change for creditors. Damn the creditors. They feel that what they're going through right now is supersedes that. So halting the trading, making sure the LP remains intact. And again, it very well could have been something like they foresee that the DOJ will seize that anyway. So kind of want to keep everything in place. So again, I don't see any way around this, but also it could be another little theory, just real quick, that by holding off trading, so there's no bank run, or there's no, the LP just goes to zero, just to that, maybe to salvage whatever they have, because there are, distressed debt investors out there. I know there's a theory going on about that Dr. Secret guy or whatever, who may want to purchase the whatever development they've done with the blockchain and wallets and exchange, and maybe
No,
rebrand it as something
that's
else.
your
Look,
theory,
listen,
isn't it?
I
That's your theory,
understand
isn't it?
this is. I understand, right, what you're going to say, but I'm just throwing it
What's
out there,
your
right? Because
theory?
right now we don't know. Oh, it is. That's my theory.
But why
Absolutely.
would why would somebody buying Safemoon tokens entitle them to any kind of ownership of company assets? It's a very stupid theory.
Well, I mean, look at this. He bought the tokens. Now trading is halted. So,
Yeah, I
right?
once looked at
I
a
mean,
hedge. What's your point?
I'm just saying. I mean, it could be a coincidence or it could not. I'm just throwing it out there, actually. Maybe behind the scenes is.
Is it possible that people could set it up to where if the trading did go back live, which it sounds like Clark's saying that's not going to happen, but if it happened, that people could set up like bots or something to auto sell?
Well, now it's in the court's hands. The entire operation of the company, they halted trading. Again, it could be because we did see that they didn't hold trading when they filed, right? And then the court came back and said, like, all right, well, we need more information. Again, could have been part of the whole process where, like, we're going to hold trading, keep everything as is, because when you're going through Chapter 7, you're not allowed to touch anything. You kind of put it in the court's hands. So some people, yeah, I mean, I can say that they just decided, all right, let's halt everything. Let's refile, make sure everything, all our, we dot our I's, cross our T's, everything is all set, and it's going to be in the court's hands. Now, what happens after that? It's anyone's guess. I'm pretty sure the DOJ is going to have a hand in that, but that's what it looks like to me. I mean, again, that conspiracy theory about someone trying to buy whatever's left, that's again conspiracy theory. That's total speculation. My educated guess, of course, the reason why they hold it trading was because they're refiling, they're setting all the paperwork for Chapter 7, and once that's done, it's completely, they wipe their hands, it's out of their hands completely. So that's why they don't want the LP going anywhere, and I'm sure the DOJ is going to have a say in that too. But yeah, that's my thoughts on that.
No, I appreciate your thoughts. I want to have you come up here and then shout down everything that you say. And I do want to add one additional thing that my source mentioned is that the plans is to excuse me. The plans is to try to get a court order to have all of these proceedings sealed, which does raise alarms to me. I think that this process would be much better if it were open. So I hope if this does go before a judge and they talk about sealing these proceedings, that doesn't happen. I would want to be able to follow this very closely.
It's going to be interesting, that's for sure. But yeah, it's dead. Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah,
it is dead.
it seems
Yeah.
like Safemoon Maxis literally bought the dip all the way down into them halting trading. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, that's unfortunate. But again, it's their money,
Not
right?
fresh out of sympathy.
Oh, at least they had 30 minutes. So I put the warning out there. I mean, I was a little scared to do it, to be honest. I didn't want to get sued or something like, oh, you told everyone that trading was going to halt and then it didn't happen. I mean, that was a little scary for
Well,
me. I
Clark,
have
if
to
they
put that
haven't listened
information
to
out there.
you or anyone else at this point, I don't know what else could save them. So, I mean,
I don't know how much the creditors, when they go through Chapter 7, the creditors, the number of creditors listed is between 60 and 90. And again, speculation on my part. I saw the list and it's not an extensive list of all the partners and things like that they owe money to, but it could also be the employees. They say they would have to file a claim. So, yeah, I mean, halt trading, see what the court decides. If they want to use the LP to reimburse or basically pay back everyone else, start with the creditors. I didn't see any banks on that list. I don't know if he took out any business loans for Safemoon. I imagine he did. But as some of you already know, of course, he was using the majority of funds to fund Safemoon and development has been from the LP. So I can't imagine he had to take out some loans. Maybe he did, but it would be hard to take out loans if you have no revenue, and there was no revenue. So maybe using the LP as venture capital. So
I just can't believe they view the LP as something to be taken. Like, why do they view it that way instead of as being the holders? Why do they view it as like, oh, we can just take all this and use it?
well, lack of regulations, right? And I mean that's what the court's going to decide. This whole trial, the SEC, the DOJ, they want to set those regulations because right now there is no law that says the LP can
What
only.
you mean to say is piece of shit businessmen that don't understand the fucking space they operate.
Well, I mean, I don't think anybody really understands the space, right? It's a brand new space. There aren't any regulations around it. The SEC nor the CFTC are actually regulating it. They don't set any hard and fast rules about this. So I'm not using the ignorance as a defense for their part, but that's they just felt
Well,
that.
it's just they're just rugging the LP. Like that's what's happening.
Well, yeah, rugging or I mean, at the end of the day, it's the same outcome. Really, you're using the LP for development of Safemoon to invest in ECG or whatever. I mean, you could think that it's at the end of the day going to help Safemoon as a company, but you're still removing LP for purposes that um, counter to what they originally thought, right? And I mean, for the court case, I mean, that's a whole other discussion. We have to look into what was actually said, and what the jury will think, what the court will ultimately decide.
The
That's a
investment
whole
in
other thing.
ECG was made under John's name, not under Safemoon's name. And the agreement was to pay
Well, yeah,
John
that's
a share of the personal profits. John never once had any entitlement to any of the IP or assets of ECG. He only had a claim to a percentage of the net profit.
Well, that's
beyond that.
court,
Like
right?
this part of this conversation is like the root of what some people needed like to get an understanding of. That's not how this works. That's not how this works. It's not how this is supposed to work. You can't just raise a ton of funds or take all the money from liquidity and put it towards a quote unquote company. That's two different things. Like those are different funds whatsoever. It's a liquid asset. It's got a liquidity pair for trading. It's meant to be a currency backed by that asset. Nothing else. Nothing. No other use cases.
Well, I mean, just to count that a little bit, when
you can't counter that at all. That's factually what it is. Like, just that's a fact.
In securities, if you're putting money into a private equity firm, venture capital firm, or any kind of pooled investment, there are contracts that says how much of that can be used for admin costs, things like that. But also, when you put money into a private equity fund, you don't really have control over where that money ends up going. Of course, what businesses are going to be invested in. I'm not saying that as a defense of what John did, but he looked at the LP as a pooled fund, and he's using that under Safemoon LLC to fund Safemoon LLC. And again, complete ignorance on his part. He had no idea of the regulations because there are none. But that's what we're going to see in court, and that's what the SEC wants. Ultimately, the SEC. I think we could all agree with that. The SEC wants to regulate crypto. They want it to fall under their umbrella. They want to set these hard and fast rules for what you can do for an LP. Whether or not DeFi tokens or any of
they have to because of situations like this and people's like logic behind this argument right now. That's why they have to.
I'm not debating that. I mean, yeah, sure, for better or for worse. I mean, it should be regulated because you have too many situations like this. People don't know what's going on, right? There's no SEC rules that says that you can't use an LP for whatever. So this is what this court case is really going to decide. Because once it goes to trial, when people plead guilty, can't really create case law against that. They want to go to trial. They're going to go to trial. They're going to create the judge is going to rule based on the facts of the case, and then the SEC is going to turn around, and of course the DOJ, SEC is going to pressure Congress to actually create regulations and to say, all right, well, everything involving crypto will now fall into the SEC. SEC, go ahead and make some rules, as many rules as you can, regulations on what can be done with crypto. So that's ultimately what's going to happen. It's not just about Safemoon, right? I think we could all agree with that. I mean, there are going to be huge sweeping changes about crypto, at least in the United States. And again, I have no problem with that, right? I'm a securities trader by default. All right, there's a lot of regulations there. When you take the Series 7, you have to abide by all of this and agree to understand this. Right now, there's nothing like that with crypto. Again, it's basically like the Wild West. That should change. A lot of people argue that. We had our fun with an unregulated market, but you see what happens when it is unregulated.
So you're a securities trader, like by day?
Well, yeah, I'm a day trader.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Is there a system that exists now or has always existed that would allow you, if you were interested in starting up a business, let's say you were going to start up a windmill, fucking online windmill business in the fucking Gambia. Is there a system already in place that already exists that would allow you to raise funds, give shares, and operate that business from funds raised?
Are you talking about setting up a corporation and offering shares based on the actual investment? Because that's not what Safemoon was originally. I mean, yeah, but that is in place, of course. If you set up a corporation and take outside investors, a startup, whatever it is, they have a say, of course, in where that money goes. I'm not sure I understand your question.
No, that's a perfect understanding. You've got the right understanding of the question. So if that's something that they wanted to do and they wanted to operate under that type of structure, they had a means of doing so. They chose to operate under a different means.
Right, but the only issue is SafeMoon didn't begin as a corporation and allowing outside investors like the initial coin offering, right? I mean, it's murky territory, really. That's what the court case is going to ultimately decide, right? That's what this whole thing is going to be about.
So what
Because
I'm saying is it's not murky at all. If they want, okay, so it's a coin. It's a fucking thing. It's a token that exists. It's out there. If they then want to start up a corporation next to the token and utilize that open market token, they could have done so and they could do so completely legally, completely fine, raise money, spend those funds, share those profits from that corporation all they want to, and utilize the token all day, every day. Nobody's coming after them. That's not what they did. Instead, they took the money from the liquidity pool and all, like, so you have implied market contracts, and what that essentially means is that you are going to operate under a set precedence that's already there, and by not doing so, you by default fraud everybody that has a current understanding of that market precedence, and that's what Safemoon did.
Yep, all this is going to be argued in court, right? I get that. I'm not saying you're wrong or anything. I'm not saying you're right either way. I understand that it's a shady way of doing things, but that's what DeFi and crypto was. If you establish, like, all right, well, we're going to set up this code. Look, we all know why SafeMoon started, right? To make money, right? There's like those types of projects are a dime a dozen, and they still exist today, right? Let's introduce this token. People will trade it, get money. The ones who got in the beginning, they can sell. Right, exactly. People called it a Ponzi scheme in the beginning. Why haven't every single one of them been indicted? Because there are no regulations or hard regulations against it. That's exactly what they're trying to do. I get your point, right? If they wanted to do this legit and start a startup company, get Series A financing or whatever, and get people, hey guys, we're going to start this new thing, or even a crowdfunding project. I don't know. But again, that's not how it happened. Now, Kyle started it. I'm pretty sure he started it as just another token that he hoped to get rich with. And he absconded and he's out and he made his money and whatever. John probably said, hey guys, we have this whole liquidity pool. We can potentially use this to create something bigger, right? Delusions of grandeur, whatever. He's a kid. He doesn't know much. And also he knows that SafeMoon itself, I mean, like the crypto, it's an unregulated space. To say, hey, let's get the ball rolling right now. Now, again, I'm not defending John, right? And I'm not saying whether or not. Oh, sorry, I lost connection there. But again, that's why it's interesting. Yeah. But this court case is basically going to answer a lot of our questions, right? And we're going to get regulations. We heard Merrick Garland, right? You know, after the whole Binance thing, and we saw the CFTC involved, the SEC too. SEC and the CFTC, I'm sure they're fighting over which one of them gets to essentially regulate crypto, right? They want to pressure Congress to set these regulations or basically decide where crypto is going to fall under. So when I say goes beyond SafeMoon, I know people like to joke and say like, "Oh, it's a conspiracy against SafeMoon," and that's not the case. The SEC and the DOJ over the last few months, and I mean, we all can agree there, they want to regulate crypto. I mean, they want quick wins. They want enough ammunition to go to Congress and pressure them to essentially regulate it, or at least assign SEC or CFTC to do that. So that's where this is going, right? And this is why this case is going to be pretty damn interesting. Because I know we all have opinions about it's wrong, it's morally wrong, whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, the regulatory bodies, the DOJ, they're going to decide what's going to happen with crypto as a whole. We all have opinions about it's wrong, it's morally wrong, whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, the regulatory bodies, the DOJ, they're going to decide what's going to happen with crypto as a whole.
trying to take a sip.
Hey, what's up, guys? I totally forgot I was live. What's going on, everybody? The space rugged, yeah. And then I'm getting ready to probably go get some food. Sorry about that. How's everybody doing? I think Safemoon's dead, guys. I'll be putting out a video on that. But I think that I don't know if it could die any harder. It probably will continue to die even harder, but John's in jail under charges of fraud. They are bankrupt. They don't have any money to spend on anything. And now trading's halted. Like, how much more could it die? There's not even like a meme. It can't even be a meme coin. And everybody just got rugged. Like, everybody just got rugged. Everybody just got rugged.